Alright guys, so since I'm out for your class periods, I'm just going to show you, we're starting something new, which kind of sucks that I'm not here. So I'm going to show you a couple examples, and you're just going to do the ones, I'll do the ones that say together, and you'll just do the ones that say on your own. What we're starting today is multiplying polynomials. So you learned last week, we just tested over how to multiply monomials, right? Like, how do we multiply if we saw x squared here and it was being multiplied to x squared here, right? These two things being multiplied, the same base, right? When we're multiplying, how do we multiply? The law says we can just take that base. I have two x's here, right? X times x, and it's being multiplied to x times x, right? So I can just take the base, and I have 4x's being multiplied. So I could have just taken it and I could have just added the exponents, right? So y'all learned how to do that. So now what we're doing is polynomials, right? And what are polynomials? Polynomials are when you have multiple terms. So again, what is a term? A term is anything just kind of stuck together, a number, a variable, a coefficient, a product of a coefficient, a number and a variable, right? So anytime you see just kind of something stuck together, and if it's separated with another operation, like another multiplication sign or addition or subtraction or just any other sign, that's another term, right? So for example, number 1, I have this number and it's attached to a parentheses, and we know that when it's attached right here, it is being multiplied, right? So I have one term on the outside, and that's the 2, and then I have how many terms on the inside? You should have 2, okay? So again, there's a lot of ways to multiply. I'm going to show you what I think is the easiest way for certain problems. So here, I just have one term being multiplied by 2. And we all know this little method where you have something attached, where you can just take what's attached and distribute, right? So to me, this method for something this simple makes the most sense. You have something attached, so distribute it inside to everyone. And then all you do is you'll multiply, right? So I take my coefficients, my numbers, multiply them together. 2 times 2 is 4. I have 1y here, so that's 4y. So 2 times 2y is 4y. And then 2 times 8 gives me 16. Okay? So then just like that, on your own, right now I want you to try doing this one. You have this term being multiplied to these two. Okay, so I want you to do this one, and just notice, though, this is a negative 6 that you're multiplying to. So go on ahead, take a couple seconds, do that one, pause the video, and finish that one, and then I'll go to the next one. Okay, for this next one, there's, again, a lot of ways to do it. I'm going to show you this one way, and then I'm going to change it up in the next one. So in this one, I have parentheses, right? I have 2x minus 4, and all of it is being raised to the power of 2. Okay, so I'm going to expand this out for you so you guys can see it, right? I have these two terms, all of it's in parentheses, right? And this exponent means I have it being multiplied twice. So I have 2x minus 4, and it's being multiplied to 2x minus 4 again. So now I have how many terms being multiplied to how many terms? Here, I have 1, 2. And it's being multiplied to 1, 2. So remember, everything needs to be multiplied. Like this number needed to be multiplied to these two. Okay? So we're going to try one method, and it's called double distribution, clearly because I have 2 terms. So I got these 2 terms going to these 2 terms. Okay? So it's double distribution, and I'll go on ahead and show you how it's done. So everything needs to get multiplied to each other. So this is the way we do it. I have this first term, and it's going to be multiplied to these 2. So that's where we're going to start. We're going to start with the first terms. Okay, so the first term, this is the first term, right? This is the first term. So we're going to take it, and we're going to multiply this to this. This first term to this first term. Okay, so you take, just like we multiply normally, you got 2 times 2. That's going to give you a 4. And we know if you have x and you multiply another x, that gives you x squared. Alright, now, the next one is this 2 is missing from this last one, right? So it went inside to this one. Now it's got to go to the other number in that parentheses. If you notice, this one's the very first number I see. This is the very last. We call that the outer term, right? You see, this is the outside. This is the outside. So the next thing is we'll multiply the outside. So I got 2x here. And notice this is a negative 4. So what is 2 times negative 4? That gives me a negative 8. And I have 1x here. Do I have an x here? No, so that's 1x. Okay. So far this has been multiplied to both of them. So we're almost done. Now I just need this one. This one needs to go to both terms over here. So I'm going to take negative 4, and the first one I'm going to go to is this number, negative 4 times 2x. We call this the inside, right? If you notice, this is on the inside, this is on the inside, those two are on the outside. So we're going to multiply the insides together. So negative 4, again, times 2 is negative 8. And then I have 1x here and none here, so that leaves me with 1x there. The last thing is this negative 4. The only thing it hasn't been multiplied to is that negative 4. So we'll go on ahead. This last one that you do, it's called the last term, right? This is the last one in the parentheses. This is the last one. So we multiply our last terms together. All right, this is a negative 4. This is a negative 4. So negative 4 times negative 4 gives me a positive 16. So you just multiplied all of that together. And I know it looks like a lot, but I promise it's not. The last thing you're left to do is when your answer is left looking like this, you're always left looking if anything can be combined. Because I have an x squared here. Do I have another x squared? No. However, I do have this x here and this x here. Those can be combined. Okay, so your final answer, this first term had nothing to combine with. So I bring down your 4x squared. I have a negative 8x here plus, right, a negative 8x here. If you do the math, use a calculator, that's going to give you a negative 16x. And then can this positive 16 be added to anything? No, so we just bring it down. And that is your final answer. Okay, so I want you to go on ahead and do this one. This one helps if you see it. You have this, these two terms being multiplied twice. So this is 3a minus 5 times 3a minus 5. And using double distribution, you can do your first, your outers, your inners, and your last, right? So these are your first terms. Multiply these two together. These are your your outer terms. Multiply those two. These are your inside terms. Oh, I already used that color, not that. These are your inside terms. And then these are your last terms. Okay, so remember, everybody, this one has to go to both of them, and this one has to go to both of them. And then once you get an answer, make sure you don't forget to combine what you can combine. Usually it's always here in the middle to get your final answer. So go on ahead, pause the video, try doing this method. Okay, so this next one, this time I have this one term and it's being multiplied to how many in here? So this time I have 1 being multiplied to 3 terms in here. So far all we've done is the distribution, so let's continue it. Let's see if you can take this one term and distribute it to all 3 terms, okay, to not forget any term. So again, when you have a coefficient, you always multiply the coefficient. So this one is a negative 3. This one doesn't have a number, so it helps if we put the 1 there. So negative 3 times 1 is still negative 3, right? If you have 1x here and it's being multiplied to 2 there, how many x's is that? That's x cubed. All right, so we did the first one. Let's go to the second distribution. Again, coefficients. I got negative 3 times 7. What is that? That should give you a negative 21. And you got 1x here, and it's being multiplied to this 1x here. That leaves you with x squared. So you just did the second distribution. And the very last one, we have a negative 3x times a negative 5. Again, the numbers will get multiplied. So negative 3 times negative 5 should give you a positive 15. And you have an x here. Do you have one here? No. So you just bring that down. And none of these combine. This is x cubed, x squared, and just an x. So this would be your final answer. So this is distribution going to 3 terms. So on this one, I want you to pause the video and try seeing if you can multiply this one to all 3 terms, seeing what you get. Okay, so this last method is probably going to be the method that we're going to stick with the most. Okay, so if you notice here, just like the other one, I had 2 terms, right? Once we expanded it, we had 2 terms being multiplied to 2 terms, right? And we did double distribution. So we did this is the order in which we multiplied, right? Well, this method, it's still doing the same idea, okay? Except we organize it a little differently. So I have 2 terms, and it's being multiplied to 2 terms, right? So this is a method that we call the box method, okay? And this is how we organize it. You have 2 terms, so we'll go ahead and split this up, 2 terms by 2 terms. So we're going to split this up like this. My 2 terms by 2 terms. So you have a total of 4, right? Total of 4 terms. So these are my 4 boxes. 2 terms, 1, 2 by 1, 2. Okay, and then you just split it up. My first term here was a 3, so we'll put that here. My last second term here was an f, so we'll do, this was a positive f, right? We'll keep it together. So that's my first set of terms, and it's being multiplied to these 2, right? So we'll go ahead and do that. My first term was an f, and the second term was a positive 6, so we'll just organize it together. So the point of this is just to organize your answer. It tells you what to multiply with what, okay? It tells you what to multiply with in a certain order. Yeah, so the boxes tell you what to multiply with what. This problem is a little weird. It's going to set up our answer a little funny, but don't get hung up on that. It'll still tell you. So this first box is telling me that I'm multiplying this 3 and this f. Okay, remember, only the coefficients, only the numbers multiply together. And you're like, well, this f doesn't have 1. Yes, it does. It's that 1, remember? So 3 and 1 get multiplied together. What's 3 times 1? It's a 3. You have an f here. Do you have an f here? No, so you just have the 1f, right? So 3 times f is 3f. All right. This box, let's just move this way, okay? This box tells me I'm multiplying a 3 and a 6. Okay, well, what is 3 times 6? A positive 18, right? Okay, so now let's do this one. This box tells me I'm multiplying an f to another f. Okay, well, if I got one f here and I'm multiplying to another one there, how many f's do I have? That's right, f squared. And then this last box tells me that I'm multiplying an f to a 6. Remember, those coefficients multiply. So if this is the number 6, what's the number here? Right? 1f and 6. 1 and 6 is 6. And then I have 1f here. Do I have 1 here? No, so I just have 1. Okay? So this problem was a little ugly. I didn't like the organization. But I want you to notice this is backwards. So I'm telling you now it's backwards. But it'll be okay because the next problem will be backwards. So you'll do this the same. Okay? You'll do this the same. So notice just it's going to be backwards. These diagonals, the middle diagonals, will tell you which terms to combine. Because notice, you have an f here and f here. Don't they combine? Yes. So when they combine, you can just add them together. So remember how I told you always want your answer to go in order. You always want the variable with the biggest exponent to go first. This is the only one with an exponent, so that would be my first term, f squared. I can combine these two. If I have 3f's here and 6x here, that's a total of 9. They're both positive, right? This was a positive and this was a positive. Positive 9. And the last term, 18, doesn't go with anything, okay? So when I get to the other problems, probably on the next video, you'll see that this is a backwards box. No big deal. Just multiply in order, combine these two, and then write out your final answer. This is your answer. And just notice this is going to be the same way here. Okay, so your first term will probably be here. You combine these two, and then this last box up here. So go on ahead and set it up. Put your 2 terms, right? Set up your 2 terms, and then go on ahead and multiply it out and see what you get. And just know this is a little backwards, okay? On the next video, I'll show you the right way.